Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to talk about blood supply of brain, and here at the side you can see the diagram, and you need to refer the diagram when we'll talk about the blood supply of brain. Let's start our topic with introduction. Brain requires a continuous and precise supply of oxygen and nutrients to function efficiently. This is achieved through a complex network of arteries, veins and capillaries that ensure the proper circulation of blood. The cerebral circulation is unique due to its high metabolic demand, specialized barrier to protect neural tissue, and intricate redundancy mechanism that maintain function even in the case of blockage. Now let's talk about arterial supply of brain. The brain primarily receives blood through two major pairs of arteries that are internal carotid arteries and vertebral arteries. These arteries form an interconnected system that ensure the distribution of oxygenated blood across all regions of the brain. First we will talk about internal carotid artery, and then we will talk about vertebral arteries. Internal carotid artery originates from the common carotid artery and ascend into the brain through the carotid canal. They serve as a primary blood supply for the interior circulation of blood, giving rise to several important branches. And these branches are anterior cerebral artery that supply the frontal lobe and superior region of parietal lobe. The other branch is middle cerebral artery that provide blood to the lateral surface of frontal, temporal and parietal lobes, as well as it also supplies blood to the basal ganglia. Third branch is ophthalmic artery that deliver blood to the eye and optic structures, and fourth branch is posterior communicating artery that connects the internal carotid system with the vertebrobasilar system that contribute to the circle of Willis. Next we will talk about vertebral arteries. The vertebral arteries arise from subclavian arteries and travel through the transverse foramina of cervical vertebra before entering the brain. They form the posterior circulation supplying the cerebellum, brainstem and occipital lobes, and the key branches of vertebral arteries include basilar artery that are formed by the merging of both vertebral arteries if supplies the brainstem and cerebellum. Second branch of vertebral artery is posterior cerebral artery that provide blood to the occipital lobe, thalamus and inferior temporal region. Third branch is cerebellar artery that includes superior, anterior, inferior and posterior inferior cerebral arteries that are responsible for cerebellar circulation. Now let's talk about the circle of Willis, that is basically formed by the contribution of both of the arteries of the brain, that are internal carotid arteries and vertebral arteries. So circle of Willis is crucial arterial anastomosis located at the base of the brain. So this thing is important, that it is arterial anastomosis and it is located at the base of brain. And it allows co-lateral circulation in case of blockage or reduced blood flow. It consists of anterior cerebral arteries, middle cerebral arteries, posterior cerebral arteries, anterior communicating arteries that connect the two anterior cerebral arteries, and posterior communicating arteries that link the internal carotid artery to the posterior cerebral artery. So these are the five arteries that interconnect to form the circle of Willis, and this network ensures the brain continuously receives blood even if one artery becomes obstructed or there is reduced blood flow in case. Now let's talk about venous drainage of brain. As we know, the blood supply includes arterial supply and venous drainage. So venous drainage is also the part of blood supply of brain. So talking about venous drainage, once oxygenated blood is utilized by brain, deoxygenated blood and waste products are removed through the venous system, which consists of cerebral vein and dural venous sinuses. These include superficial cerebral vein that drain blood from the cerebral cortex and deposit it into the dural sinuses, deep cerebral vein that drain internal structures like the thalamus and basal ganglia, and then we have dural venous sinuses that are large channels within the dura mater that direct blood toward the internal jugular vein, ultimately carrying it back to the heart. These include the superior sagittal sinus, inferior sagittal sinus, chair sinus, and transverse sinus. There are many other sinuses, but these are the major sinuses that may form the dural venous sinuses. Now let's talk about the clinical significance of blood supply. Disruption in brain blood supply can result in severe neurological disorders, and some common vascular conditions include that may cause the brain disorder or ischemic stroke that are caused by blockage in cerebral arteries leading to oxygen deprivation and neuronal death. And then it can also cause hemorrhagic stroke that occurs due to rupture of cerebral artery leading to bleeding within the brain tissue. It can also cause transient ischemic attack, that is a temporary reduction in blood supply causing short-term neurological symptoms, and it can also cause an aneurysm, that is basically weakness in arterial wall that may lead to life-threatening ruptures. The blood supply of brain is highly specialized and essential system that support cognitive function, movement, and sensory processing. And this was all about the blood supply of brain. Hopefully you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment. Thank you for watching.